You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Cinema Gold Show. As always, I'm your host, Larry Elise. On today's episode of Let's Talk, we're going to dive into ensemble casts versus solo leads. Before we do that, give me your thoughts on this debate in the comment section below. And with that, let's dive right in. From the earliest days of cinema, the idea of the movie star has been deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of storytelling. While ensemble casts offer a rich tapestry of perspectives, it's often the solo lead, the singular force driving the narrative, that leaves the most lasting impression. Whether it's Humphrey Bogart lighting a cigarette in Casablanca, or Julia Roberts walking confidently down Rodeo Drive in Pretty Woman, solo leads command attention in a way no group dynamic ever can. This isn't to say ensemble casts are without merit. They can be expansive and entertaining, often capturing a wide range of experiences, but there's something about following a single character from beginning to end that allows audiences to form a deeper bond. Solo leads anchor the story emotionally and provide clarity and structure and focus. They give us someone to root for, someone to fear for, and someone through whom we process the themes of the story. Tonight, we'll dive deeper into why solo leads tend to be more engaging. We'll explore their historical roots, emotional resonance, marketability, psychological impact, and enduring appeal. Through case studies and data, we'll make a compelling case that while ensembles can entertain, it's the solo star who truly shines. The movie star is not just a product of the industry, it's the industry's foundation. During the silent film era, audiences would flock to see performers like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton, regardless of the film's premise. It was their presence that sold the ticket. As the studio system emerged, actors were signed to long-term contracts and groomed into marketable icons. Clark Gable, Ingrid Bergman, James Stewart, and others weren't just actors. They were larger-than-life personas people returned to over and over again. And the legacy continues today. Whether it's Al Pacino, who wasn't famous because of The Godfather, he became a lasting icon because of how deeply he anchored that story. The camera followed Michael Corleone's every move. Audiences watched him evolve from war hero to mafia boss. Meryl Streep's name alone is now synonymous with prestige, range, and emotional complexity. These stars carry the cultural memory of their eras, and their presence elevates even a mediocre script. Historically, solo leads also shape genres. Think Clint Eastwood in westerns, Bruce Lee in martial arts, or Jim Carrey in slapstick comedies. These weren't just actors and stories, they were avatars for the genre itself. That level of cultural power is nearly impossible to replicate with an ensemble. At the heart of every memorable film is an emotional core, and that core is almost always a single protagonist. Solo leads offer audiences a consistent emotional through line. We don't have to jump between multiple story arcs or shift perspectives. Instead, we're allowed to sit inside one character's world, experiencing their fears, joys, regrets, and triumphs in real time. Take Erin Brockovich. Julia Roberts didn't just play the role, she became the story. Every twist in the plot was filtered through her tenacity and heart. Audiences cried with her, cheered with her, and felt vindicated when she finally won. The journey felt personal. Contrast that with ensemble films like Crash. While the film presents multiple stories intersecting lives and offers important social commentary, the emotional impact is spread so thin that few characters feel fully fleshed out. As a result, we may remember the film's themes, but we don't remember the characters themselves. Solo leads act as a conduit between the viewer and the story's emotional core. When we focus on one character, we feel every shift in their development with sharper intensity, making the story more rewarding. In today's crowded media landscape, having a recognizable face can be the difference between box office success and complete obscurity. This is where solo leads hold an undeniable advantage. Actors like Denzel Washington, Margot Robbie, or Tom Hardy bring instant recognition and, more importantly, trust. Audiences know what they're getting when those names are attached. That familiarity lowers the barrier to entry and increases ticket sales. Studios are aware of this. That's why solo stars often feature front and center on posters, trailers, and press junkets. One face simplifies the marketing message. Instead of advertising a plot or theme, the studio advertises a person. And that person becomes the film's identity. Even streaming platforms rely on this model. Netflix thumbnails often highlight one key actor's face because their analytics show it increases click through rates. Whether it's Ryan Gosling in The Gray Man or Jennifer Lawrence in Don't Look Up, audiences are more likely to watch something if they recognize and trust the lead. In contrast, ensemble films require more narrative explanation. The audience must be introduced to multiple characters, each with their own subplot and motivation. That's a harder sell in a 30-second trailer. In a media economy defined by short attention spans, a solo lead provides an edge in clarity, consistency, and memorability. Take Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossible franchise. Tom Cruise has become a textbook example of how a solo lead can drive not just a film, but an entire franchise. Since 1996, Mission Impossible has grown into one of the most successful action series in film history. And at the center of it all is Cruise. His character, Ethan Hunt, has not only evolved over time, but has also maintained a consistent emotional through line. He's the heartbeat of the franchise. Cruise's reputation for performing his own stunts adds another layer. Viewers know that when they see Cruise dangling off a plane or speeding through narrow alleys, it's really him. That authenticity translates into a kind of cinematic trust. Audiences don't just watch Mission Impossible for the plot, they watch to see what Cruise will dare to do next. Ensemble action franchises like the Fast and the Furious have had to juggle an ever-growing list of characters and cast changes, often at the expense of emotional continuity. While entertaining, they sometimes lack the central heartbeat that Cruise provides for Mission Impossible. It's a clear example of how a singular lead can elevate consistency, deepen audience loyalty, and drive long-term success. The psychological appeal of solo leads is rooted in human nature. We're wired to empathize with individuals more easily than with groups. When a film follows a single protagonist, it gives us space to project our own fears, hopes, and questions onto them. That identification also creates a powerful bond. In Black Swan, Natalie Portman's descent into madness becomes a mirror for perfectionism, anxiety, and identity loss. The camera rarely leaves her, pulling us into her fractured psyche. By the end of the film, we're not just watching Nina, we are her, confused and consumed by ambition. This level of immersion is difficult to achieve in ensemble films. With too many characters, the audience's emotional investment becomes fragmented. Even if the film is well written, we're likely to connect with only one or two characters, making the others feel like narrative filler. Solo leads act like emotional surrogates. Their victories feel like our own. Their pain cuts deeper. That bond is what makes stories unforgettable. And it's why films with one strong lead tend to linger in the cultural imagination far longer. It's easy to see why filmmakers are drawn to ensemble casts. They allow for multiple perspectives, large story worlds, and a broader emotional palette. But without careful management, ensembles risk becoming narratively shallow. When a film is forced to divide its time and energy across 10 different characters, very few of them get the screen time or emotional weight necessary for lasting impact. Consider films like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve. Despite having impressive A-list ensembles, they failed to resonate emotionally. Why? Because no character had enough depth. Instead, we're treated to shallow storylines, each given a few minutes to establish, develop, and resolve. Nothing sticks. Even celebrated ensemble films can fall into this trap. Excuse me. The Expendables is a fun, explosive action series that leans heavily on nostalgia and spectacle. But very few fans walk away remembering the characters' arcs. There's no singular emotional journey, only scattered moments of bravado. This diffusion weakens emotional investment. Audiences don't want to follow a relay team, they want a hero. A single lead allows for tension to build, stakes to rise, and a resolution to feel earned. Without that clear central figure, ensemble films often end up being forgettable, even if they're momentarily entertaining. The commercial data is overwhelming. Films with bankable solo leads consistently outperform ensemble movies, especially in global markets. Stars like Will Smith, Angelina Jolie, DiCaprio, Keanu Reeves have built careers on reliably drawing audiences across the globe, often irrespective of a film's genre or reviews. This isn't a coincidence, it's consumer psychology. For instance, I Am Legend, starring Will Smith, alone for most of the film, grossed more than 500 million worldwide. Gravity, where Sandra Bullock carries the solo lead for long stretches, did nearly 725 million. These films didn't need massive supporting casts. They needed one compelling person at the center of the storm. By contrast, ensemble driven films often struggle unless they are franchise based or genre specific. Even then, many rely on a core anchor to keep the audience engaged. Think Iron Man in the Avengers or Katniss in the Hunger Games, who, while surrounded by supporting characters, are clearly the emotional and narrative centers. Streaming behavior also tells us something. Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu all rely on face driven thumbnails and metadata, tagging to catch users' attention. The system is built on the assumption that people click on people, not concepts. A single face, particularly on the viewer, knows and trusts, outperforms crowded posters almost every time. It would be dishonest to claim that ensemble films never work. Some of cinema's most beloved works are built on group dynamics. The Lord of the Rings, The Avengers, Ocean's 11, and The Breakfast Club have all demonstrated that ensembles can indeed captivate audiences when handled with care and clarity. But dig a little deeper and you'll find that even these films rely on narrative gravity centers. Frodo Baggins in Lord of the Rings is the character through whom the audience experiences the burden of evil. Tony Stark often carries the emotional stakes of the Marvel Universe. And in Ocean's 11, George Clooney's Danny Ocean provides both the plan and the charisma that propels the story forward. Great ensemble films still require hierarchy. They don't treat all characters equally, they highlight a lead, and everyone else plays a supporting role. The ensemble label can be misleading when one character clearly owns the emotional weight of the film. Moreover, these ensemble successes are often the result of massive budgets, multiple screenwriters, and a built in fan base. That's not something most films have. In most cases, relying on a solo lead is not only safer, it's often more effective in both storytelling and marketability. Cinema is built on connection. At its best, it allows us to step into someone else's life, to see the world through their eyes, and to feel things we might otherwise never experience. Solo leads make this possible in a way that ensemble casts rarely can. They create a singular emotional thread, a clean line from the opening frame to the closing credits. From the earliest silent films to today's blockbusters, audiences have been drawn to iconic faces. We remember Indiana Jones, Forrest Gump, Aaron Brockovich. We quote them, imitate them, and see ourselves in them. Their journeys become symbolic, their struggles universal. This cultural imprint is the true legacy of the solo leads. In a world increasingly flooded with content where attention is fragmented and competition is fierce, audiences want clarity, charisma, and connection, and nothing delivers all three quite like a great solo lead. With that, let me know your thoughts on this debate in the comment section below. Give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold or scan the QR code on the screen. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.